I remember the first time I held the Book of Five Rings in my hands. It wasn't just another book, it was a key that unlocked a new way of thinking, not just about martial arts, but about life, discipline, and even creativity. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to share something deeply personal and unique: how reading the Book of Five Rings by Miyamoto Musashi helped me write my first novel. Crazy, right? How could a samurai strategy guide influence a story? Well, stick around and I'll show you why this ancient wisdom is not just for the battlefield, but for anyone looking to master the craft. When I first picked up Musashi's work, I wasn't just looking for inspiration, I was searching for a framework. Writing a novel felt daunting, like facing an unbeatable opponent. Now keep in mind, I'm only done my prologue. I needed a way to structure my thoughts and discipline myself, and that's when Musashi's philosophy hit me. Musashi wrote about the way of strategy, and while it's rooted in combat, his lessons are universal. He spoke of controlling the mind, being adaptable, and staying calm under pressure. That's exactly what I needed for my writing process, especially when it came to writing fight scenes. Let me break down the top 3 principles that helped me the most, and how they made writing fight scenes not only easier but more dynamic. Principle 1. Control your mind. Musashi believed the first step to mastering anything was mastering your mind. He called it keeping your mind straight. In writing, this meant one thing: discipline. I used to stare at my screen for hours, distracted and second-guessing every word, but Musashi's advice taught me that a wandering mind is the enemy. By setting small, consistent goals and learning to control my thoughts, I pushed through my writer's block. But here's how it made writing fight scenes easier. Fight scenes can be chaotic. If your mind isn't clear, that chaos can spill onto the page, making the scene messy and hard to follow. Musashi's philosophy of mind control helped me focus. I learned to visualize each strike and block movement with clarity, making my description sharper and more precise. It was all about bringing order to the chaos. I turned to an example: becoming one with hitting the enemy. It takes dedication to the art you are practicing. You cannot hope to attain perfection if you cannot go into an attack and destroy the enemy by becoming one with the attack. You must attack as quickly and directly as possible. You must be able to strike the enemy, even should he go into a retreat posture. Now you might be wondering, well, Will, what does that have to do with writing, and what does that have to do with fight scenes? There are 2 things about this that I want you to take away. Number 1 is that this is exactly how you should be writing. You should be putting your ideas onto paper and not stopping yourself. Let the chaos flow onto the sheet. Your job is to put order in it, and that is being perfect with your attack when it comes to the paper. Number 2 is this helps you visualize what your characters will be thinking during a fight scene. What exactly are your 2 characters or more going through mentally when they're fighting each other? Is one more trained than the other? Is one stronger? Is one better in martial arts? Well, that one would have this mentality when going in for the kill, wouldn't they? Principle 2. Adapt to the situation. Musashi stressed that a warrior must adapt to any situation, and as a writer, this was critical, not just for plot twists, but for fight choreography as well. When writing a novel, the story changed. Characters took on lives of their own. Instead of resisting, I embraced it, adapting to the flow of the narrative. Like Musashi in battle, I learned to use the environment, the plot twist, the unexpected to my advantage. I turned to page 55 for an example of this. The only way you can understand the truth about killing an enemy in combat is by killing an enemy in combat, because this may be difficult to do whenever you may want to. It's essential to understand that every battle in itself is unique, and that you need to adapt to every battle so that you can leave victorious. This goes for you in writing, and this goes for the characters in your book. No character should be having the same battle twice. They might be able to learn and take away lessons from one battle to another, but none of them should be taking on the same battle a second time. Make them unique. Make them interesting. Make your character adapt to the environment that they're in. In fight scenes, this principle was a game changer. Fights are never static. They're constantly shifting, just like in real life. Musashi's technique helped me keep my characters adaptive. Maybe they lose their weapon, or the environment would change mid-fight. Adapting to these shifts made the fight feel more realistic and immersive, while also heightening the tension. Principle 3. Timing is everything. In the art of war, Musashi talked about the power of timing, knowing when to strike. The same applies to writing, especially in high-stake action scenes. I learned that every scene, every word has a rhythm. For my novel, there were moments where I needed to push forward with intense action, and others when I had to let the story breathe. Musashi taught me that timing isn't just about speed, it's about knowing when to wait and when to move. When writing fight scenes, this was key. Timing dictates everything in a fight. When to attack, when to defend, when to wait for an opening. Musashi's emphasis on timing helped me choreograph battles that didn't just rush from one blow to the next. It gave my scenes depth, allowing tensions to build before that critical strike. This created fights that felt strategic, not just physical. Take, for example, this lesson on page 72. 3 fierce shouts. There are only 3 times when you can scream fiercely in combat: before, during, and after. Shouting and screaming are the same as long as they fulfill their purpose, which is to terrify the enemy. Even in the case of shouting, you need to consider what would your character do, how would they attack the moment, and what strategies would they have. The timing of the shout is so perfect, it needs to be strategic. Now, I don't want you getting caught up in all the little intricate details of Musashi's Book of Five Rings and how exactly my character needs to think in every moment. But I think what you should take away from this is that there are some things your character is going to think about. Just like you in real life, you wouldn't be able to think about every little detail when you're in a fight, nor should your character. Remember principle number 1. I want you to let the chaos get out on the sheet. Let the chaos get out there and then deal with it later, because unlike your characters, you have the time to go in and fix it up. Now, I can't say that I did it properly myself because I am an amateur writer, but I do think that this book gave me so many lessons that I took away and I've applied them in my writing. And I think that there's a lot that any writer can learn from reading the Book of Five Rings. So that's why the Book of Five Rings was my secret weapon when writing my first novel. Musashi's teachings on discipline, adaptability, and timing didn't just help me become a better writer, they helped me craft fight scenes that felt real, intense, and deeply strategic. If you're struggling with your own creative process, whether it's writing, art, or even starting a business, I highly recommend picking out Musashi's work. It's not just a book about fighting, it's a manual for mastering your craft. And in all honesty, I never thought a samurai strategy guide would become my writing Bible. But hey, creativity's a battle too.